Yeah, so we're gonna talk a little bit about Red Team Ops on TryHackMe. This room teaches you things about OPSEC or operational security from a red teamer's perspective. So the introduction goes through what is OPSEC and how to use it, and the systematic way of using OPSEC in terms of protecting the client, protecting you, protecting things that need to be protected. So basically, this is what you're looking at in terms of OPSEC. So identify, controls, and protect. So identify critical information, then provide those controls to those critical information, then the protection for those. So you see, identify critical information, analyze threats, analyze vulnerabilities, asset risk. Yeah, looking at what assets are at risk or our assets can be compromised in terms of how the red teaming operation is going. So start to finish, critical information. What information could be IP addresses that are publicly available. Um, could be versions of applications that can be banner grabbed and so forth. Then threats. What what are threats there? It could be data leakage or paths that people can use to exfiltrate data, the vulnerabilities, and then risk, and then your countermeasures, what you need to do to protect those. All right, so that's a little bit about the introduction and the critical informations and looking at what information could be critical. So, for example, public addresses, maybe usernames, things like maybe the types of formats that you have in terms of your usernames. Maybe I don't need to know your full name. I just need to know the format, and then from there I can just create a password list, doing some OSINT and stuff like that. And then some of these stuff like where you're hosting your infrastructure. This from a red team perspective, and then some of the things that we shouldn't share that could be useful to either us or either other people, and then just identifying those critical information and then trying to determine how to protect them. Okay, red team information such as identities, plans, and so forth, and tactics. What kind of tactics? You might have a plan somewhere. TTPs, techniques and procedure, operating system, um, maybe available on the cloud or something that you have online. What public IP addresses are you using? Maybe you send a message and somehow you were using some sort of non-protected system. All right, threat analysis. Okay, intention, equal teaming. Try to keep it out and capability to know, always know, not always known. Malicious third party. Various. Okay, so um, who is your adversary? So understanding who's out there to try to get things from you or for the organization that you work for. Then identifying those areas and then try to lock them down. All right, vulnerability analysis. So looking at some of the vulnerabilities that could be there in a team in the OPSEC. So example, these questions are asking like writing password at a specific page while using Metasploit framework. Would consider that OPSEC vulnerability. Yep. Um, yeah. So red team members post photos. Yeah. So OSINT is a place that OSINT is open source information. Um, and then posting things that you don't want to be seen with your team members on could be not a good thing. But yeah, so one of the red team posted a photo, scat every day. So there's not much of a problem here because it's just a cat. But it doesn't identify if the cat is part of the team. But here, if you're at dinner and there's a photo, and yeah, so basically maybe you have a good you have good protection on your security, but then maybe this person who posted the photo is probably got you in there, and they have some information out there that can pinpoint or track you back to the team. Tag team and every member. Yep. So social media is not as good as you think. So be careful to your security. Don't post anything that could identify you. So just post cats, pizza, and what so. And your risk assessment. Some of the things that you might look at is the vulnerabilities. So yes, we finish analyzing vulnerabilities. Now we can proceed with the 12 steps, conducting risk assessments. Defining a risk assessment process, identifying the organization, risk operations, including mission, functions, images, reputation, and so forth. So, uh, to have effective countermeasures on protecting things that you know might be exploited, cost of countermeasures compared to the impact of vulnerabilities, or determining those weights, possibility that the countermeasures can reveal information. Yeah, so sometimes if you have countermeasures, so countermeasures are actually things that protect you, but sometimes they can also say protect, give out information like if you ping a certain port and the countermeasure has some information of that port saying that this port is closed due to, and there's a name of something, a service that's running from the countermeasure, that's another issue. So here's a question. Red Team uses Hydra. So Hydra is a password cracking software that you can use to crack stuff or brute force stuff, web-based or session-based. Moreover, using the Metasploit framework on the same system, yeah, yep. Knowing the attacker configured that. Yep. So always good to divide your attacks and don't have all your tools on in one bucket. So, for example, you might be running a Metasploit here, and then they could block that, but you're also running Hydra, so uh, they can pick up that because Hydra is kind of noisy in some sense. On the network, you are basically brute forcing, so there's a lot of failed attempts if the IDSs might see those and say, "Oh, this person," but then you also running something that is probably trying to exploit vulnerability, so that will also increase, and it can be a risk as well in terms of vulnerabilities that could be high risk. Countermeasures. Okay, so these are what you need to do to protect yourself. So final steps in applying countermeasures. Okay, you can read about the DOD countermeasures and design, preventing and anniversary of detecting critical information and so forth. So, looking at ways to protect yourself from things like banograms and so forth. Yeah, so you can read that through. And then they have a practical exercise. It's basically um, you trying to send stuff in terms of defining. Basically, you're trying to define what needs to be part of the policies that you can implement in your team, as well as other areas that you can think of in terms of prevention. Okay, so I think that's about OPSEC. So it's not too big, but it does help you to understand that there are some risks that you need to consider when forming red teaming, as well as both protecting the team but also protecting the resources of the organization that you've been testing towards. All right, so thanks for watching, and yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Cheers.